Welcome back to Jimmy Invest. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Why do people who earn $80,000 a year often feel just as financially stressed as someone earning half that amount? Why do schools teach algebra, chemistry, and history, but almost nothing about how money actually works? The truth is that most adults aren't struggling because they don't work hard, they're struggling because nobody ever taught them the operating system of money. In the next 20 minutes, you'll learn the financial principles that quietly shape almost every financial decision you'll ever make. Financial literacy is often misunderstood as knowing complicated investment terms or being able to predict the stock market, but the reality is much simpler and far more practical. It is the ability to make consistently better decisions with money over an entire lifetime. Imagine a 27-year-old marketing employee living in Chicago, Manchester, or Amsterdam. After taxes, they earn approximately $4,300 every month. Friends see a stable career, a modern apartment, occasional vacations, and weekend dinners out. From the outside, everything appears comfortable. But the moment payday arrives, the money immediately begins disappearing. Around $7,900 goes toward rent or a mortgage. Utilities, internet, insurance, and phone bills quietly remove another $450. Transportation costs or a car payment consume another $400. Student loan repayments require another $300. Groceries, fuel, subscriptions, and everyday necessities easily reach another $800. By the time these predictable expenses are paid, more than 80% of the month's income has already been assigned somewhere else. What remains often feels too small to build meaningful wealth, and this is exactly where many people reach the wrong conclusion. They believe the problem is income, when the real issue is understanding how money behaves. Financial literacy begins by recognizing that every dollar has a job long before it is spent. Most people think of money as something they either spend or save, but financially intelligent people see something different. They see a system. Some dollars are responsible for today's survival, others protect tomorrow's emergencies, others eliminate expensive debt. Only after those responsibilities are covered do certain dollars begin working toward long-term wealth through investing. The problem is that very few people are ever taught this sequence. Instead, they are taught to earn more, spend carefully, and perhaps invest whatever happens to remain at the end of the month. Unfortunately, whatever remains is often very little, because human psychology naturally expands spending alongside income. Imagine receiving a $500 monthly raise. Logically, saving most of it would improve your future financial position. But reality often unfolds differently. A slightly nicer apartment suddenly feels affordable. A newer car becomes easier to justify. Streaming subscriptions multiply. Weekend spending gradually increases because the higher income creates a feeling of greater financial safety. None of these decisions seem irresponsible on their own. In fact, each one can be explained rationally. The problem is that together, they quietly erase the financial benefit of earning more. Economists often describe this pattern as lifestyle inflation, but at its core, it is simply human adaptation. We become accustomed to higher standards of living remarkably quickly, while our expectations continue rising. This is why someone earning twice as much as they did 5 years earlier may still describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck. The paycheck changed, the system behind it did not. Another important lesson that financial literacy teaches is the difference between assets and liabilities. Although these terms are often explained in unnecessarily complicated ways, an asset is something that has the potential to increase your financial position over time or generate future value. A liability continuously requires money to maintain or reduces your future financial flexibility. The confusion begins because many purchases look valuable even when they weaken long-term finances. Buying an expensive vehicle may improve comfort and convenience, but if the monthly payment limits your ability to build emergency savings or invest consistently, its financial impact becomes very different from its emotional value. Financial literacy encourages asking a different question before every significant purchase. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this payment?" Financially intelligent people ask, What will this payment prevent me from doing over the next 5 or 10 years? That small change completely alters decision-making. A $400 monthly car payment is not simply $400. Over 5 years, that represents $24,000 before considering financing costs, insurance differences, maintenance, or the investment growth those dollars could have produced elsewhere. Suddenly, the decision is no longer about one monthly payment. It becomes a question of opportunity cost, which is one of the most powerful ideas in personal finance. Every dollar can only perform one job at one time. Spending it in one direction automatically means it cannot work somewhere else. This concept applies to almost every financial decision, from housing choices to daily coffee purchases. The point is not that small purchases are inherently bad, but that every repeated spending habit quietly competes against future financial flexibility. The same principle applies to debt, particularly high-interest credit card balances. Suppose someone carries a $5,000 credit card balance at an interest rate of 22%. Without reducing that balance meaningfully, more than $1,000 each year may disappear purely as interest. At the same time, that same person may feel excited about earning 8 or 9% in an investment account. Financial literacy reveals the hidden contradiction. One side of the financial system is quietly losing money faster than the other side can reasonably earn it. The solution is rarely emotional, it is mathematical. Yet psychology often pushes people toward exciting investment decisions because they feel productive, while debt repayment feels invisible even though it frequently produces the stronger financial outcome. This illustrates perhaps the most important lesson of all. Successful money management is rarely determined by intelligence alone. It is determined by systems that reduce the need for constant decision-making. Financially secure people do not wake up each morning asking themselves whether they should save or invest. They build simple structures that automatically move money toward its most important responsibilities first. Over time, these systems create stability that compounds quietly in the background. The result is not instant wealth, nor dramatic overnight transformation, but something far more valuable, a financial life that becomes increasingly resilient as the years pass, allowing every future decision to be made from a position of greater clarity rather than constant financial pressure. One of the biggest misunderstandings about money is the belief that financial success comes from finding the perfect investment. In reality, the most financially stable people usually spend far less time searching for extraordinary opportunities and far more time avoiding ordinary mistakes. Consider two co-workers who both earn the same salary of $4,300 per month after taxes. They have similar living costs, similar education, and similar career prospects. The first person constantly searches for the next investment that promises high returns. Every few months they change strategies, buy different assets, and react to financial headlines. The second person follows a much quieter system. They maintain an emergency fund that covers several months of essential expenses, eliminate high-interest debt whenever possible, contribute consistently to a retirement account if employer matching is available, and invest regularly into diversified long-term funds regardless of whether markets feel exciting or disappointing. After 1 year, the first person may appear more successful because individual investments occasionally outperform. But after 10 or 20 years, the second person's consistency often produces stronger results because their financial system is designed to survive real life rather than perfect market conditions. This is where compounding begins to make sense. Most people hear the phrase compound interest and imagine some magical force that instantly creates wealth. In reality, compounding is simply the process of allowing time to multiply small, repeated decisions. Imagine investing $300 every month into a diversified portfolio, earning an average annual return of around 8% over the long term. During the first few years, progress feels slow, because the account grows mostly through your own contributions. But as the years pass, the investment earnings begin generating additional earnings of their own. After 10 years, the growth becomes noticeable. After 20 years, it accelerates. After 30 years, the accumulated returns often exceed the total amount originally invested. Nothing dramatic happened in any single month. The power came from consistency meeting time. Unfortunately, many people interrupt this process because emotions replace logic. When markets fall, fear convinces them that investing was a mistake. When markets rise rapidly, excitement encourages them to invest more than they comfortably can. Financial literacy teaches a different perspective. Market fluctuations are not unusual events that must always be avoided. They are normal characteristics of long-term investing. What matters more is whether your financial foundation allows you to continue following your plan without being forced into emotional decisions. This is why emergency savings are so important. Their primary purpose is not to earn impressive returns. Their purpose is to protect long-term investments from short-term problems. Another lesson rarely taught is that income alone rarely creates wealth. Plenty of high-income professionals experience financial stress because expenses expand alongside earnings. At the same time, many households with moderate incomes quietly build substantial wealth simply because they consistently spend less than they earn and invest the difference over long periods. Financial literacy shifts attention away from appearances and toward cash flow. Instead of asking, "How much do I earn?" financially aware people ask, "How much of my income continues working for me after my monthly obligations are covered?" That question reveals far more about long-term financial health than salary alone. The same principle applies to budgeting. Many people dislike the word because they imagine strict rules and constant sacrifice. But an effective budget is not about restricting life. It is simply a plan that gives every dollar a purpose before it disappears. Without a plan, money naturally flows toward immediate comfort, because the human brain values present rewards more strongly than future benefits. Psychologists refer to this as present bias, and it affects nearly everyone regardless of income level. Recognizing this tendency allows people to design systems that make good financial decisions easier instead of relying entirely on willpower. Automation is one of the simplest examples. When savings and investments happen automatically after each paycheck, fewer emotional decisions are required. Consistency becomes the default rather than something that depends on daily motivation. Financial literacy also changes how people view risk. Most beginners believe risk means stock market volatility. Experienced investors understand that risk has many forms. Depending entirely on one source of income is a risk. Carrying large amounts of expensive debt is a risk. Having no emergency savings is a risk. If today's video helped you see money from a different perspective, remember that financial success is rarely about finding shortcuts, it's about understanding the principles that quietly work over decades. If you'd like more calm, practical, and reality-based finance content designed for everyday people, consider subscribing to Jimmy Invest. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.